primary unit, I think all bets are off at this point.
You got the guys filming fucking.
It becomes way too unsafe.
Yeah, and the speed is very high. We're watching
fucking
I think we
wildlife,
may have
motherfucker.
lost him
Like,
for a bit there. There he goes now, northbound again. I believe that's Crenshaw.
this is a lot better.
But the speeds.
It's the same airspace rules. They have a better shot.
You bring up
Like, look at this shit, man.
ability.
Oh my god.
To get some backup here from the other agencies in Inglewood right now. Ordinarily, PD would be able to assist, perhaps take over if the pursuit stays.
I think the audio is going to be too finicky.
How many Inglewood officers are part of the mutual aid response that is, of course, in downtown
Smart.
Los Angeles? A lot of
First cut at Smart and Final.
Southern California have sent units and people into
Now.
downtown to deal with the problems that have been occurring.
How do I
there.
think it?
So there may not be the amount of law enforcement folks who are ordinarily available to deal with something like this, and the CHP may be in this by themselves. They do have a helicopter.
Oh yeah, I need to pause one.
Sun reflected on the ground there.
Green light.
As the vehicle now heads northbound on Crenshaw, and then the issue also becomes the cloud cover, the marine layer that Dallas told us about.
I'm gonna pause this.
That's right. We've been fighting that marine layer all evening long. It's really moved in and out. Temperatures
then
change,
play.
but you're right. Limited resources. And
Now she can sing.
maintain full control over this.
Oh, wrong
any
one.
Event, unless there was.
Now.
Would say in this,
Yep.
at least at this juncture, to maintain this pursuit for as long as it goes, and obviously,
Boom! I got it. I got it.
They'll be back on home turf, and they can hand this off to another CHP division. But this is CHP's South LA office that's in pursuit here. Not sure if it was originally
Needs a couple seconds more,
the
but
South LA office, but very possible, and most likely it was. Now it looks like he is behind the buildings here. We may lose visual here, as you can see.
Look at these jerk-offs. I can't. We see the other heli. Oh my god, bruh.
Is there any law enforcement helicopter over that? Do you know who that is? It's LAPD. So there's actually at least a couple of
let him use the airspace, man.
That do have actually three. There are 3 law enforcement helicopters, Mark, over this pursuit. So in the event that they have to let it go on the ground for speed, at least one of those helicopters can safely keep an eye on this guy until he comes to a stop. And obviously they will try and triangulate to make sure they are there once it does come to a stop. If it does come to a stop in this area.
If this guy keeps going north, it's GG. We're not gonna get a shot on this for fucking 10 minutes, 20 minutes, possibly.
Another busy night in the city of Angels here. I got to tell you, it's just been one of those weeks, Mark, and you can see this is what they're dealing with here in Inglewood as California
pulled over.
Tries to catch up with this guy, and it looks like, is he back on Crenshaw, Rob? Okay, that helicopter appears to be orbiting, which may indicate that he has come to a stop, but I cannot confirm that.
All right, well, it does look like that has happened. Either stopped, football, or got into an accident, possibly. Helicopter would be an indicator of that. And as you can see,
Bro, these criminals are so broadcast unaware, it's insane. Always going near the airport, always. So fucking boring, dude. Oh my god, bro.
If we can get closer, we will do that, but I want to point out before we go to Dallas Rains that it looks like it's getting a little hazy out there. Let's check in with Dallas right now, and if we need to go back to this pursuit, if we can, we'll do it. But in the meantime, Dallas Rains, little haze there.
That's right, Mark. That marine layer, the ocean clouds that come in late at night are right in that area. There's a little Catalina eddy spinning around. These are the winds you can see coming out of the south. That's the circulation, but that brings in the moist air.
What? What? Oh my god, chat. I'm gonna tweak. I'm gonna tweak it.
Seal Beach tonight, kind of cloudy and hazy 63. The only rain is occurring over in the Rocky Mountains tonight. A high-pressure dome that has been falling for days is making its way up towards Southern California. So for the weekend, and you can see it beautifully on this satellite image here. Here's Los Angeles, cool air to the north, but this dome of high pressure where you see all this red is warm, sinking air.
That suit is way too shiny.
And by Saturday and Sunday, on Father's Day, it's going to be sitting in Arizona. So once it's in that position, we'll really start to feel
Damn,
hot
son.
temperatures out in the
Nah,
desert areas.
he's got that
excessive
motion.
heat wash effect. If
Cleaned.
you're going to
That's
Palm
aura
Springs,
right
the
there.
Colorado River, or Las Vegas this weekend for Father's Day, you
Dude,
will
he
see
led that
temperatures
arrow.
between 110 and 114 degrees. Wow. So, if you're in the Marine Lane, you are fortunate. Tomorrow morning, we'll have that even in the valley areas. At 7 o'clock, it'll be cool at 67. Then by lunchtime, it's already 70 as temperatures will be climbing into the 80s in the valley areas, and a few areas will make 90 degrees. That's what happened today out at Lake Elsinore. They had 91.
I don't know. I'm watching this. I don't even know.
Three of them, so it's like great. They're
Yo,
in custody. I
yo.
think they said there was 3 in custody. Were you able to hear that?
Chat. Listen, I have an idea worth $1 billion. I'm gonna give it for free. We need a monopoly. These news sources, what you guys gotta do, you gotta pick the correct commentator, the correct cameraman, and the correct broadcaster, and make a super house. Need everybody. Yo, Chris is always, his legs are cut off from the fucking shitty angle he always has. We can't see anything, dude. We can't see nothing. And he has the people that just start yapping. I know, this guy, it looks like he has a car. The car looks, it's rolling on 4 wheels. Bro, shut the fuck up, loser. I'm not gonna hear that shit. Mute the fucking mic, man. It's crazy how bad it is. It's unwatchable. Oh, man.
Now that I trust you, like, oh my god, we can share in these experiences. See how this is gonna go. Let's see how this is gonna go. Hold on. If I get over a 900, we're gonna do fine, okay? Here we go. That's a bad omen, boys. Alright, well, if we f it all up, we'll know why now. This situation actually really sucks. Generally, we're gonna go back. Let me take you back a few months. Generally, when I meet people online, there is very limited interaction that I have at such a level to where if I couldn't cut a person off, I wouldn't care. It's incredibly rare. There's like 3 people in my life where it would affect me. But after a few months ago, I had a tumultuous interpersonal thing that happened. And I was like, okay, well, here's like a lesson I think that I've learned for myself. I'm gonna reach out and talk to more people offline to try to have more like human friendly-ish type relationships, because that's what human beings do. Maybe it'd be good for me. And one of those people was our good friend Max, and another one of those people, before she became a streamer, was Lav. Spoke with her like a few months ago. She wasn't really into the whole streaming thing, so I didn't really think much of it. It's like, oh, random person I've spoken to before, whatever. And yeah, yikes. Where do we even begin? What happened? Am I crazy to think that Lav has hope? So here's the issue. I don't have perfect transparency. Okay. I don't normally make... So here's something that I've learned in my life, okay? One of the reasons why I think I am quite intelligent and quite good at dealing with people generally, because I'm usually pretty humble about the extent of my knowledge on a person. So like, I might say or think that I have a person like 90% figured out, but I'll really only act on like 50%, because like truly you don't know. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I've mind read you completely, I figured you out 100%, blah, blah, blah. Usually I get an inkling. ask more questions, interact with somebody more. If somebody would ever ask me, and I've said this a lot on stream before, if somebody asks me, how do you know if you truly know a person? How long do you need? Like, I can do it in 10 minutes and some people can do it in hours. Usually what I say is, well, if I've gone through like a really big situation with somebody and they could have fucked me over or not, then I'll know like what that person's like. That's generally like my approach. I usually wait to see till big situations happen, and then I kind of get like a handle on what people truly are like. So that being said, generally when I'm like reading people on stream, I'm usually pretty reserved in what I'm saying. I usually don't give like all of my thoughts on those people, just because I don't know 100% and because just whatever. But I'm gonna be a little bit more candid with my impressions now. I don't actually think that Lav or Anna or Shaylin are that much in the wrong. I think that Max is actually like a full-on narcissistic manipulator who's abusive to every single person in his orbit. Probably worse than any other person I've ever seen in my entire life. I kind of got that inkling over the Shaylin videos, but truthfully, I'm willing to extend like, well, maybe there's stuff I'm not seeing, maybe there's something I don't understand. Yeah, you know, like maybe there's something going on behind the scenes or whatever. So I'm like willing to wait for data to come in, but especially watching him interact with Lav on his stream and then seeing how Lav has changed her disposition and then seeing the types of messages that Anna sends me now and then hearing about what Shaylin is saying on Chud Logic's stream, now I understand way more like what's going on. That Max has a certain impression. He's able to emotionally abuse or gaslight or manipulate people around him into feeling a certain way, and he draws them in such an unbelievably effective way that he can get them to feel almost whatever he wants them to. And I think that he's done that now with people in his immediate orbit. So where do we go? It didn't work on you though. Well, because obviously I'm not manipulatable. Not like that, okay? I'm trying to think of the order I want to do this in. Let me put together what I think Max's mind looks like. Okay? This is what I think. I think that Max is extremely narcissistic. And when I say narcissistic, what I mean by that is I don't know if Max can ever be wrong about anything. I don't know if he ever sees himself as being in the wrong. I think that if something happens and it is wrong, it's because other people either don't understand or other people are trying to abuse him or other people are making mistakes that just puts them outside of the ability to understand what's going on inside of his head. I've noticed this conversationally when he talks to people. He seems unwilling to ever back off a read he has on somebody. And I've noticed this when it comes to settling interpersonal drama with the stuff with Lex Friedman or that professor that he blew up on his stream or that he blew up on Twitter. It seems like he can't ever take any kind of feedback there. And I've noticed it, there was one more thing I was gonna say. I think, what was I gonna say? Professionally? It happens interpersonally, it happens during conversations. We're gonna get to me. That where anytime something negative happens, it's always some other person's fault. It's always like another person that's making these mistakes. So I think the scary thing is that in Max's mind, Max is the hero of his own world, and nothing can get in the way of that. Like if he's on a mission, if he's on a crusade, he has to, like, he's the only one that can like be tasked with figuring things out. And if you misunderstand, you just have to talk to like his most loyal fans. They'll tell you, you're not smart enough to understand if you don't otherwise, right? So, damn, I'm trying to think of how much I can even say. A few days ago, I started to get a whole bunch of messages from people saying that, I'm not gonna say who, but it's been a lot of people that have been reaching out to me saying that Max has been contacting every single woman I've ever had in my Discord in the background, and a whole bunch of men trying to get lists of women that I've ever spoken to. And in his mind, he's built up this idea that I have essentially the following fetish. That I approach a woman, I float the idea of her being on my stream. If she f***s me, I f*** the woman. Then I bring her on stream and I have my entire fan base attack her because I get off on that. And then I run her out of my community. And I think he's built almost this entire narrative off of mining Anna, Anna, personally for stories and information. I don't know when they started talking, but I think that he's really good at talking to people and building them up in the ways that they want to be built up so that he can get the information from them that they want to give him. And yeah, him and Anna have been talking a lot in the background. He's got this archetype or narrative in his head for how I treat women on my stream. And he's also got Lav, who I guess Lav revealed that we hooked up. Now you know how irritating it was every time she would claim that I'm only defending a woman because we hooked up with them, blah, 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 but I can't be public about the fact that we hooked up. So between him, Lav, and Anna, now he has in his head, he's built up this archetype in his head of this is what Steven does to people. I've got two women here who maybe feel abused or mistreated by his community. And then what he's doing is he's trying to find every other girl that I've spoken to see if he could get like similar stories out of them. Now, I don't know how many women he's talked to so far. 10 or 20 or 30 or more. I know that he's been trying desperately to get in contact with people like Denims and Bad Bunny. I know that he's like messaged a ton of people asking for lists of women that I've spoken to. I know that when I found this out 2 days ago, I started going down my list of friends and right-clicking and doing the properties, and I suddenly started to notice that Mr. Girl was mutual friends with every single girl on my friends list that I've like ever spoken to. And I think what he's doing, and I can't prove this, I don't know, but if anybody wants to come forward and share, I think what he's doing is I think he's calling all of these people in the background, and I think that he's asking them through long conversations or trying to convince them that I'm doing something improper or wrong. This is extra frustrating for a few different reasons. One is because there are some people that Mr. Girl, I think, can only confront because of very personal and very private information that I've told him. So he's taken that information and he's basically used it to lie to other people or attack me in the background, which is very frustrating because it's very rare that I share a secret with somebody. Don't have very many. So that's one thing that's very irritating. And then two, because I think I was genuinely like a pretty good friend to Max and Lav, although I guess they both don't feel that way because my subreddit shit on them for a while. But like, yeah, I'm not sure. I guess in the future, I need to write like strict rules for, how people are going to interact with me on stream or something, because I guess if the subreddit is mean to them for a few days, they're going to lose their fucking minds. But yeah. That entire fucking stream with Erudite was fucking disgusting, where he's pushing you to share shit with him to prove that you love him. Yeah, it's pretty weird. But I think at the end of the day, I think that he's just like, again, highly narcissistic, highly manipulative, and yeah, that's just what he does. How many different people did you confirm that he contacted? I'm not going to release numbers because I don't really want him to know what I know. Is he doing this because of the subreddit stuff? I don't really know what flipped the switch in his mind. Do you have any evidence or receipts? I have a ton of evidence and a ton of receipts, of course. I'm not going to go public with something like this with somebody that shady without obviously having some idea of what's actually going on in the background. I don't really want to quote any of these in particular because I don't want him to know who sent me stuff, but he's used phrases alluding to the fact that I like very carefully choose which women I want to victimize. He's repeated this pattern that like my goal is to abuse women by bringing them on stream and having my community make fun of them after I fuck them. You had Lav today alluding to the fact that I guess I'm Harvey Weinstein on stream because I have sex with a lot of people that come through my community, which I mean I do, but the way that I always kind of saw it going in my head is if anybody ever tried to Me Too me, all I would ever say to that person is like, hey, listen, oh, you think I was improper? Okay, well, leak all of our DMs. Or if you don't want to, I will leak our entire DM history. Because I always figure that, like, obviously, I usually have really candid conversations about, like, my expectations for people, like, sexually or whatever. So, like, for instance, these are messages that I sent back to Lav in August, okay? Early August. I don't know how many months ago that is. So, like, I'll literally say things like, oh, hey, just because you've been on stream more and whatnot, I know we've had some kind of sexual conversations in the past, but you being on my stream or the way that I interact with you never has anything to do with any of that kind of stuff, just being clear on that. She says something, and I say, I'm just saying, don't feel like any of your interactions are contingent on anything like that. You're fine doing whatever. Just don't want you to feel like I'm keeping you around for anything related to sex, etc. Like, I usually have very, very, very explicit conversations with almost everybody about stuff like this. I'll say it. I've said it a million times. If anybody out there, any woman ever feels like I'm being improper, feel free to like show in DMs where I'm pressuring you or grooming you or doing any weird shit like that. Those DMs don't exist because it doesn't happen. The only thing that I'm a little bit worried about when it comes to Max is because he's so manipulative. The struggle that I have is that I think he probably could get like 2 or 3 girls like out of their head and like try to get them on stream. It's like, oh yeah, actually, you know, when I think about this kind of feels like really bad because his community made fun of me or some shit. And even if I have a really good response, if I get like 3 or 4 girls in a row that all have these types of like emotional stories, it just makes me look bad no matter what. I will say that it's extra frustrating that Max is trying to do to me basically what Cherry and Stardust did to him, except on a much lesser level, where he like talks to people, hypes them up, tries to convince them that they were abused, and then tries to get them out. I also think it's really gross that despite me and Anna's past shit, me and Anna have been like relatively chill, I think, for like the past year. I haven't had any complaints about her, no problems or whatever. Obviously, I think she did bad shit in the past. She thinks I've done bad shit in the past. But I haven't really had any problems with her for I don't know, for like a year or more. But Max has been talking to her a lot in the background now, and I noticed that she's starting to echo a lot of what Max has told her to me and to other people in DMs. So basically her, Max, and Lav have been running around in DMs in the background, basically talking to a ton of people to try to see if there are people that I've like sexually abused or manipulated or anything like that. But do you regret giving Mr. Girl a career? I don't know. I'm actually really surprised at this. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Max has so much to lose, but I don't think I'll pull the plug on his site because I'm just not that kind of person. Although I think if I did, I don't think anybody would think that I was in the wrong to do so. Like, I can see his income. I see like everything he does on the back end of his site that is like running my shit. Like, I could have just pulled the plug on that. I don't know why. I don't know why he would think it like, but then I guess even just saying that, does that make me sound abusive? Like, I have no idea. I don't know what the expectations are. Something that I was gonna go off on, related to the conservative shit is that I'm really, really, really tired, and this has like been wearing me down a lot over the past few months. The reason why I have good conversations with people is because I have to try exceedingly hard to meet them where they're at, which is oftentimes years behind me in terms of emotional maturity. And it is a struggle day in and day out to baby walk people like Lav or Mr. Girl through conversations to show them like, this is why everybody hates you, this is why you're contradicting yourself, this is why you're wrong here. And to be doing that at the same time that they're like constantly attacking me and shitting on me when I'm applying like every fucking ounce of good faith and charitability I possibly can to these people, and then they're like turning around and like calling me an abuser or saying that I'm this or that is very fucking frustrating to me. I'll probably go back to my bunker in a day or two, and I'll probably try to like reconsider the amount of charitability that I extend to people, because that's a huge burden. Are you afraid that he would leak your secret? I mean, like, he might. The thing that sucks is that like technically none of these leaks really hurt me. They just hurt other people who want to keep their business secret, which I'll always respect. If other people want to keep their business secret, I'm always cool with that. But I mean, I guess at this point, it's up to those two, who seem like they have no boundaries for any of that now. But yeah, the Mr. Girl Shaylin Lav stuff is incredibly creepy. I'm assuming that Shaylin is a victim of Max instead of assuming that she has any agency at all. That's just the assumption I have because she's so caught in his orbit. But the Max conversation with Lav was actually unbelievably fucking
You've been sexting consistently with Anna for a year.
Me and Anna don't have any problems. We're fine.
You have been sexting
Max,
consistently with Anna for a year.
Max,
Everything you say about her is a lie.
Max, what have I said
Yes.
about her that's a lie? Tell me.
That she stalked you.
She did stalk me.
That she locked. Okay, then why are you sexting with her still?
We're cool. We've been cool for a year, Max.
Okay, so you acknowledge that you've been sexting with her for a year.
Yeah, we've had on and off, sure.
Consistently, this entire time.
I don't know what consistently,
time.
every single day, no. But Max, listen to me. Do you understand that we've been fine for a year?
When you say we've been fine, that includes that you've been sexting for a year.
Sure, yes.
Okay, so when you're saying that she is locking you in the basement of her mind, or that she's this traumatic stalker person who's your victim, you have all
Hold
these
on,
people.
Max, can you acknowledge that I haven't said anything bad about her for a year? I've said we've been fine. I've said that over
The
and over
last
and
time I talked to you about her, like 2 weeks ago, or 16 days ago or something, you said that she locked you in the basement of her mind and it was a traumatic experience for you.
Yeah, because a year or two ago, she spent 2 years nonstop talking about me, no matter what I did. You understand that that was a year ago. If you pull up clips on my stream, ever since I've moved to Miami, I've always said, me and Anna are cool. It's chill. Like, she used to be, I would say, a stalker, or she used to be like creepy or whatever, but we're cool. We've been fine for like a year, literally.
Okay, so the fact that you've been sexting with her is already absorbed into your narrative about this?
Do you think that changes anything?
Yes, absolutely. I think it
Okay, have I talked shit about her? for this past year?
Yes, the last time I talked to you, you said that she locked you in the
Locked
basement
me
of her
in the
mind.
past. In the past, Max.
Oh, okay.
Why? Tell me, Max. Why hasn't Anna come forward with any of this information now? Can you tell me, or do you want me to tell everybody why?
I don't want to speak on her behalf.
Okay, I will. It's because she said she literally wants to remain friends with me. And she said that. And I've had that conversation with her multiple times. Are you sure you want to be friends? Are you sure okay with this? And she's like, yeah, this is fine. It's cool. She talks to me. We talk about her shit. Sometimes she loops on stream. Sometimes she talks to me about her fucking loops. Like, yeah, that's fine. But that's why she won't go public, is because she's literally told you, and I know she's told you this. And she told me this. Like, yeah, I still want to be friends with you. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I don't really care that much. That's fine. That's cool. If you got a problem, she loops. Sometimes she talks to me about it. And then that's it.
Okay.
You've built your entire narrative on this one story. And again, to repeat, I'm going to ask you for the third time. Hold on.
What entire narrative?
This entire narrative that I'm like abusing women sexually. But I'm going to ask you again. Have I said anything bad about her over the past year? I've said in the past things were bad, but this whole year...
I have seen the logs, dude. I have seen her asking you, hey, why are you calling me a stalker on stream? What's going on? Why is this happening?
But I haven't called... Yeah, when she gets into her loops, but I don't call her a stalker. I said she used to be.
And then within two more lines, you're saying you're sending her videos.
It depends. Our conversations move back and forth, sure.
Okay, so...
Have you... Wait, hold on. Have you seen any of the conversation? Wait, let me ask. Have you seen the conversation where I was specifically asking, like, hey, do you want to be friends? Do you not want to be friends? Do you want to do this? But, like, yeah, we've had plenty of conversations, and you can go and ask her where, hey, have you... Wait, have you... Hold on. No, hold on, because I know the narrative you're trying to sell, where she's explicitly saying...
Wait, what narrative am I trying to sell? What did I say?
That I'm, like, that I'm keeping her on, like, some weird, like, sexually abusive string. When I've asked her plenty of times, like, do you still want to talk? Do you want to do whatever? And she's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, okay, well, as long as you want to, sure, that's fine. But I haven't shit-talked her on stream. Sometimes she loops on her stream about me. I don't respond to it on my stream. And I say, everything's cool, like, we're pretty chill. And then, boom, that's it.
Well, the narrative I have is that while she is getting publicly dogpiled by your community and is labeled as a stalker...
Why is she getting publicly dogpiled by my community?
She's labeled as a crazy person and a stalker that no one is allowed to talk about. And that Lav even mentioning her to you made you threaten to cut Lav off permanently.
Why is she considered a crazy person in my community?
That's not I'm not answering that question. That's not what I'm talking about.
It's important because you're blaming it implicitly on me. Me and Anna have talked about this before.
It is a fact.
It doesn't matter, Max. It matters where the facts come from. So something that Anna...
It is a fact that Anna is labeled as a stalker in your community.
Okay, hold on. I'm muting you for a second, okay? So what's happened is when Anna goes live on her stream, and then she starts looping, that gets attention on places like Kiwi Farms. Oh, he left. Okay. Easy. Boom. Interrupt every time to sell a false narrative or changes fucking lights to manipulate. There was like a point in time where it was almost the case that like Anna publicly had like redeemed herself. Like we were on like a panel, everything was chill, everything was cool, and then she like and then she just keeps looping. But he just wanted to drop that bomb and leave. True. I wonder if he's gonna have any luck getting any of the other 20 girls that he's trying to contact to flip against me. Jesus. He literally does not know that everyone saw the entire history of Anna. Yeah, the problem is that he thinks that she has a bad reputation in my community because of me, but that's not the case. Like I literally banned all mentions of like talking to her loops, reacting to her loops, or anything like that. Yeah, for the most part, like we didn't talk about her except for whenever she would go like on her like crazy loops or whatever. I'm trying to think if I should read any of the This was some of the messages that he was sending to other people. If Anna gives me permission, I can prove that almost everything Destiny said about her is a lie. He's mentioned to people, I have to move fast because Steven is in full attack mode on me. When I haven't attacked him at all on stream ever. I think he's just mad because I'm reacting to his videos where he's talking to Lav about me. Oh, this is where he paints out the, this is the Destiny pattern. 1, bring on female orbiter. 2, fuck her. 3, trash her with the community. And 4, discard her. I would like to stop this from happening, but I don't think I can do it unless Anna is willing to come forward. Oh, it was this message. He's starting the anti-Mr. Girl hate train pretty hardcore now. To be clear, I never even really said anything about him except for reacting to the videos that he was doing with, this is exactly what Lav said. Yeah, because Max has sold this message to Lav and to Anna, and probably to Shaylin too. So like all of them are on 100% the same page when it comes to, I guess me being this like crazy manipulative abuser or whatever. This is him. He keeps messaging all these people. He's like, I'm trying to, but none of these girls are getting back to me because nobody's responding to his insane shit. A lot of these people like are coming to me and messaging me like, hey, this guy's like messaging me, asking me weird stuff. He seems to have this idea that I'm like, do you think he's nuking for content or he actually believes this narrative? No, I think that for Mr. Girl in his mind, I think he actually believes all of this. I think that he really does believe, because in the mind of a narcissist, you're never wrong. He thinks that he's like the hero, like saving these people from the ashes or some shit. Tried to ask Lav for an example of one thing they disagree on, and she paused for like a minute before going on a tangent about gender identity that she said they'd probably agree on but haven't talked about. Oh, Lav has been obsessed with Max for months, I think, so she'll agree to with literally anything. Literally with anything Max says. So, yeah. Do you think he's trying to do this to coincide with the Lex podcast despite you both? I don't think it has to do with the Lex podcast. I think it has to do, I think the subreddit stuff like f***ed his mind like really hard. Lav on her stream said she thinks it's hypocritical for you to call Max a narcissist. That's because she probably doesn't know what a narcissist is. I don't think Lav has very much people experience in general, which is probably one of the reasons why she's so easy to manipulate, which is kind of what Max has done to her. It's like I said, like, I don't really blame Lav much, although it kind of hurts because Lav is one of the people that I was, talking to on a more personal level, but, I've always said something that like when I see people like turning against me, I never like fight for relationships because it's weird. I don't want to be in some weird like manipulator game back and forth where me and Max are playing like tug of war over the mind of like a vulnerable 24-year-old. I think the thing that bothers me the most is that Max, aside from like being like a literal rapist, like talking about how like, oh yeah, when women say no, I f them anyways because I know what they really want. It's irritating that he's the one at the end of the day, and then watching him manipulate and guess like the f out of Lav on his stream, and like the pictures that Shaylin is drawing of him and Max adopting her, and then like him on stream trying to like pull her like, you've got to leave Destiny's community. I left for you.
I should leave Steven's orbit because it's in some way bad for Lav if I stay.
Did he leave my orbit for Lav?
If you stay.
Yes.
Or what? I'm so confused.
Why?
What is the...
Because I'm supposed to set a fucking example for you.
Holy shit. You're gonna make me kill myself.
No.
Max! You're not my dad. Max, you're not my dad!
I'm not supposed to just set an example for you. I'm supposed to set an example for me and the audience and just people. And you made it very clear that you think we're self-harming the exact same way. So like what? Yeah, I'm
not saying that this is necessarily abusive, but like I left that community so that you could be smart enough to leave that community so that we could. That seems a little weird, but okay, I don't know about that one.
Makes you...
I left for you, Lav. No, you didn't, motherfucker. You left because you got ass mad, and now you're trying to suck more people into your orbit. To see somebody that manipulative and that abusive, like I said, and I'll say this a million times, if anybody wants to leak DMs, if they think, well, I'm being a manipulator or I'm being abusive, feel free to do it. Go for it. Like I said, I'm usually like really upfront with everybody at anything. If I feel like somebody is like, oh, Destiny, I don't like this, okay, fine, then leave. I won't talk to you anymore. Like, that's it. Yeah. Has Anna matured a lot off stream? From what we've seen, she never seemed like somebody who can engage in casual sex the other way. I think she probably can. Like I said, me and Anna behind closed doors have been chill for literally like a year. Every now and then she'll have a cycle on stream, and then her and Kiwi Farms like fucking egg each other on, and then sometimes she'll like spam messages at me, but then like usually in a day or two she'll be like, oops, I looped, and I'll be like, okay, chill, and then it's just whatever. Like that's been more or less like the past like 8 months of our conversation. Leave, sex slave. What do you want?
Can I say something?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. I just find it incredibly abusive and manipulative. The fact that he's using Anna as the foreground of his battle just for his benefit. And
Yeah, it's also really too because she started to message people now using a lot of the language that he's used.
Yes.
And I can tell that he is like getting in her head and like hyping her the fuck up on everything that he is saying about other people. Yeah.
Exactly. And she's gone through, you know, rough shit. And this is him bringing her back on, making her go back through, like, back through everything that she's gone through before. So this is ultra fucked up, and I don't think people are realizing how fucked up that is.
Yeah, like I noticed this when she sent me this message like a day ago, where she's basically saying that like I get tons of hate and harassment from your community. You know this, and you exploit this, and you face no consequences. Big streamer news networks repeat your words. Articles get written because of things you say. Like a lot of it is the same talking points that I see Max and Lav and probably Shaylin are like echoing. So I know that they've been speaking to her. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I know that I can't reveal that. I know that Anna has been speaking to them a ton, and I know that Max has been like mind fucking her a ton on a lot of this shit. Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Oh, like she just told me right now, sorry to leak the DM from Anna. Anna just said, okay, fine. Max is telling me that you're going to go nuclear on me and got me scared. I'm not going to go nuclear on Anna because me and Anna don't have any problems. We haven't had problems for literally a year. Sometimes she loops on stream about me and it's annoying, but like I ignore it. My community doesn't respond to it. And then like a day later, she's like, oh shit, I looped and that's it. Boom. I haven't talked shit to Anna for a year. That's it. We're cool. Everything has been fine there for a long time. But Max is like digging in and he's like trying to like, because the problem, I think the thing that happened was after Max built this narrative of Anna, he realized that he couldn't find a single other girl to reinforce this story because it's bullshit. And now he's like desperately trying to like hype the Anna shit and maybe try to like get Lav on it as well. But I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of.
And so the other thing is, this is one of, I guess, I don't know, this is me, this is not you from your words or anything, but I feel like the situation with Anna was a big vulnerability for you because it was a part of your life that was really tough. And not only for you, but for Anna as well.
Sure, okay. Like a year or two ago when she was streaming like every single day talking about me, and when Zerka was farming it or whatever, yeah, that was fucking annoying. But yeah, but like for over a year, that's been like done. Like I don't care.
No, yeah, so everything's like chill now, and you and her are like on, you know, decent terms and just talking as friends and stuff. And now he's bringing it back to make it like go absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, I think another issue is I think somebody must have brought it up to them. I don't know how many people know this, but it was brought up to either Lav or Max. Then they brought it up on stream, and then Max posted like, was it like 100 times in his subreddit defending his characterization of the Anna stuff? I think that somebody can tell me if they were watching the subreddit, but yeah, Max started to post a ton in his subreddit, like attacking me like over all the Anna shit. So I think that he wanted to, yeah, I think that he wanted to like bring that back up to like prove some shit about me basically, but yeah.
Also something else I want to say. So him blaming you for, what did he say just now? He said that the fact that your community attacks her is because of the shit you say about her. But, and Anna and I have been very friendly in the past. Like, I have no personal issues with her. The thing is, I've said this to Anna directly as well. The more she speaks about it and she loops on stream and all of that, the more your community and even other random people are gonna shit on her. So it's not what you say about her, and you've stopped saying things about her when she asks you to stop saying things about her. It's because she talks about you on stream all the time, so like, you know.
Yeah, and it's not even my community, it's usually like the Kiwi Farms is who she goes back and forth with now, but yeah. Yeah,
so it's not, it seems like he knows like surface like he probably knows the situation, but blaming everything on you is just, it's just bad faith.
Yeah.
It's completely fake.
Excuse me, we do not sound the same.
Good job.
Yeah,
nice.
I don't know.
Hello, I don't understand. Why do you guys think?
Because you're both fucking Europeans.
That's why we're not even from the same country.
Nope.
Close enough.
Melina sounds like Canute woman.
True.
Yeah. Sorry,
You
that's
sound
all
like
I
a
wanted.
you sound like a baguette. That's what you sound like.
Oh yeah, I have a. It's big. I got a strong baguette. I am a strong baguette, French baguette. Yes.
Okay.
So that's all
Are
I
you
wanted
guys
to
done?
say.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
like,
Thanks
What?
a lot.
Okay.
Have fun.
Bye.
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 Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to I don't know if there's anything else to go over, but I don't know if Max is planning on dropping a manifesto or some shit, if that's his like fucking goal. I know that he's getting really frustrated because in the background he's saying that like none of these girls are getting back to him. He's not getting the stories that he wants. Maybe now that it's all public, you know, if you feel like you're a woman and you've been abused by me, or if I've been sexually manipulating you, feel free to go and talk to Max in the background and he'll give all the publicity to your story that you need. Yeah. Watch the Shaylin interview. I don't really want to because, like I said, I'm trying to view Shaylin as more of a victim than like anything else. From what I heard, I saw people in chat typing things. It sounded like Shaylin is basically like just 100% a megaphone for Max. She's just repeating all of his exact same talking points verbatim. She's probably been abused by him for years now. I don't know if there's anything else. I'm not gonna sit here and attack like a victim of his, you know, for days or hours. Like that just seems kind of shitty. But I mean, I feel the same way about Lav too, even though I had higher expectations. But weren't you going to post logs of the things that Mr. Girl said to other people? The reason why I don't want to is because I don't want to reveal who they're coming from. Because if I start posting, I mean, like if Max challenges me on anything, I'll just start leaking because I guess who the fuck cares? And I don't think any of these people. I don't think any of these people care. Jesus. What did there's like clips of like Lav like almost comparing me to Harvey Weinstein. Oh Jesus. His framing on this is so crazy. Sorry, just reading through some of these DMs. I thought you and Destiny were friends. Well, we're friends. I guess I'll just read it. I stopped working with him because I think he's abusive to his orbiters, and then I found out he's been lying about and smearing the women he f***s. And then someone told me that he said he's aroused by psychologically tormenting women. So I guess we're friends, but he's also a sociopath, and I'd like to figure out what's going on. The thing is, my hands are always tied because I'm not going to reveal every single person that I've had a sexual relationship with because it's for their respect for their privacy. Like, there have been quite a few for sure, but like, there are girls that I don't have sex with anymore because of reasons, and they still come on the stream, everything's fine. Some of them get girlfriends, some of them get married, some of them, like, there's plenty of girls that have been on that I've never interacted with sexually. There's been plenty of people that I've blown up that I have and haven't interacted with sexually. Like, it's just like the craziest like story in his mind. I've had issues with guys, not issues with guys, like. But I guess it's kind of hard to prove a negative. Well, I don't have to prove a negative, actually. He would have to prove the positive, huh? Max really ended up becoming your supervillain, huh? Yeah, I feel like I put so much out there for him. It's actually insane. I was the only person that was willing to listen to him after the weird, like, shit with Vosh. I steel man the fuck out of like his like basically pro rape videos. Are you worried that Max is never gonna stop? I'm worried that I'm gonna become like a new Dr. K for him, and now he's just gonna go like full. This is gonna be what he spends the next like 3 months on, is just basically publishing Anna videos about me, but. Oh, here's another person. Mr. Girl Dude reached out to me for an introduction to Denims and or Bad Bunny. I've never spoken to him before, but I have no interest in engaging with him, so I just said no. This is what he said to me. I'm interested in talking to them about some disturbing trends I've noticed and how DGG treats female streamers. You think him joining was calculated, or is he super pissed you leaked it? He's probably somewhat stressed out right now, I'd imagine, because I think they probably wanted more time to get all of their ducks in a row on this. But unfortunately, one of the people at Mr. Girl, I probably would have waited a little bit longer, but Lav started to go crazy on her stream today. And if Lav is going to go crazy, then I'm just going to come on and say some shit. So it's probably Lav that f***ed things up, unironically. Mr. Girl needed better control. Why is there so much obsession with DGE as a community? So this is something that I thought about a little bit, but I'm gonna have to think about, I have to consider this more going forward. I like interacting with smaller streamers so that I can sexually abuse and manipulate them. No, I like interacting with smaller streamers because it's fun to have like anybody on. I don't want to just be like a clout shark person. I don't just want to be somebody like, oh, I only interact with people my size or larger. I only interact with like huge streamers. But I guess something I haven't considered before, this might be a possibility. If you're a smaller streamer and you've been in smaller orbits, you're probably used to like a certain level of feedback. Maybe when I interact with smaller streamers, maybe it is an unfair expectation to bring them on stream because they just can't like mentally handle like the level of public pushback if they say or do something that the community considers wrong or dumb. Which is like, so maybe I just shouldn't interact with any smaller streamers at all. Maybe that's just like always a mistake because it's always gonna break their minds. But I mean, like, that seems shitty that, like, I can only basically be, like, a clout shark. Here's another, it's just somebody else. Can you help me make a list of women I should reach out to? Steven is going into full attack mode on me, and I need to move fast. If you have a list of names to suggest, please let me know. Oh my god. Oh, hold on. Okay, so there might be more. Maybe this will get interesting. He also linked up with Claw. Mr. Girl did. Hey, man. I don't want to read all this, but yeah. Someone asked on your kiwi farms yesterday, too. Oh, I wonder if it was him on another account. It was some no-name account with one post. Oh, yeah. I guess in a way, I guess that makes me feel good. One of the things that I was like a little bit worried about was that like he would be able to find like some girls who are like, oh, yeah, I don't actually like Destiny anymore. And he could get in their head enough where they're like, man, maybe something wrong did happen there. But I guess like literally nobody flipped. But the reason why I've always felt comfortable is because like there are people that I've had sexual relationships before that hate me now. Like Bad Bunny and Merrick are two people that absolutely hate me, but they've never said I was like rapey or pushy or anything weird like that ever. So that's why I've never really been worried about anything, because it's like yeah. Why don't you cut Mr. Girl up and pull his site? I feel really bad going after somebody's shit like that, but yeah. Well, none of this matters. We just play League for 12 hours. I didn't do any progress whatsoever today on my factory. Unbelievable. Oh, this was him posting on Kiwi Farms. Is there a running record of what streamers he successfully or unsuccessfully tried to fuck? Nice. Based. Covert Ops post. Nice job. have one friend that's hated Max for so long, and she's so happy that the bridge is burning. It makes me feel bad. I almost want to keep it up just to spite them. But, okay, well. Probably gonna permaban all mention of, like, Lav, all mention of Mr. Girl. I think I'm probably going to not interact with anybody that interacts with them. So, put this message into the ethers. Well, I should think about that. I really do want to blackball them from everything, because like they literally are trying to do, they're trying to do what, like, Lav was almost crying, saying that like, you're such a bad friend to Max, letting Cherry and Stardust do this, when like the communities weren't even with them, like, and now they're literally trying to do the same thing to me but worse. You understand how weird that is? That like Lav was so upset about that. You're such a bad friend to Max, blah 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 blah. And they're literally trying to do not even the same thing to me, way worse. Like, holy shit. I feel like I've lost all the friends I've made this year. No, that's not true. We still have ABBA. We still have Brittany. I think those two are still good. They haven't done any weird shit. Oh, Erudite is cool. Pisco is cool. No, we're good. We're still up friends. Sneeko is hanging on there. I think. Low tier god. I don't know about that one, dude. All the no jumper guys, apparently. Oh, Lex Friedman. That's getting posted tomorrow at 9 a.m. True. You remember your first Mr. Girl talks? I want you to know that you can always trust me. I will make you have faith in me. True. What a wheezy little manipulator. Props to him, though. He's probably one of the most manipulative people I've ever seen. It's kind of funny that I made fun of, I think I made fun of Bob 7, but Bob 7 grows up to become somebody like Max, I think. Maybe. I don't actually know if Bob 7 could ever be that manipulative. Because Max is definitely like one of the highest level manipulators. Is Mr. Girl better than you at manipulating? Ha, obviously not. I hid those powers a long time ago. Where is the Arcadum speech? Me at full power as an evil person is a force the world's not ready for. Find me the Arcadum speech. But no, again, like I said, I usually don't care to like, problem with like manipulating people, and this is like what Max has to worry about, and he'll learn, or maybe he won't learn, I don't know actually, maybe he's past, maybe this is like his final level and he'll never like grow from this. The problem when you manipulate people is that's like a perpetual process, and when you're trying to like control people for years, that like for weeks and weeks and months and months, that gets exhausting. That's why I'm usually just honest with people, like if you don't like me, then leave, you know, if I don't like you, then fuck it. Like I'm not gonna sit here and like fake shit because it's just exhausting. Oh, this.
I'm tough. If I wasn't tough, I would have died long ago.
Do you think Mr. Girl is knowingly very manipulative? I think he does know. I think so. I think the word choice and the way that he acts comes across as very intentional. I really do think so. Yeah.
Once, many years ago, I allowed myself to become arrogant, and I became the most evil version of myself that I have ever witnessed. It disgusted me. Because imagine, you know me enough now that you know what my abilities are. Imagine if they had no temperance and I was selfish. Imagine the destruction that I could wreak. I was not a good person. I wasn't.
True. Did Lav open her relationship just to hook up with you and then close it again? Who knows? I don't know. Oh, but that's another example. Lav closed her relationship, meaning we're never gonna have again, but I still had no problem with her coming on stream. That was fine. Well, maybe she thinks then that's why my community turned against her, that I'm like subtly turning them against her. I don't know. Subtly. It's so annoying too, because there are even times where I think the thing that usually pushes me over, if you're ever trying to push me over in the future, I'm giving you advice right now. The thing that usually puts me over the edge is when I'm defending somebody on stream and I'm getting attacked by my community and the other person. So I would like defend Lav on stream, like, oh well, Lav brought on Anna, the Black Anna, the other night, so that was cool. And Lav's points are mostly coherent. Lav is pretty smart. Like I'd usually like be like pretty charitable on stream, and then like Yeah, but then she still says that I'm like turning my community against her and shit, which is Jesus. Are we okay to tell people that you're blackballing Lav and Mr. Girl? Oh, that's what I'm trying to think of. I think I actually have to. I think at a principle I have to, because Lav called me Harvey Weinstein. Like, I think I kind of have to. That's just insane. Who joined? Oh. Is it already time for one of our weekly powwows?
Weekly? I think it's more like bi-monthly. Maybe 3 months,
Okay,
4 months.
Hold on, I gotta play the Lav Weinstein clip.
How do we treat men in positions of power like this? Does it remind you of any stories that were in the news? How do you think that we should react to someone with a big platform sleeping with people in the same way that he does? How should we react?
And again, and then also the Anna shit doesn't even make sense because I've never even brought her back onto my stream. But hey, listen, I will say that if Lav or Mr. Girl, if either of them want to leak me being improper with a woman who I've brought on stream in exchange for sex or any of that shit, you have my full permission and consent, and leak the logs and figure that out, whatever you want to do. Whoever wants to come and tell their story, knock yourselves out. Because it's not out there. There's a reason why he's building that entire story off of one person. But, oh, part 2, if the shoe fits, hold on.
Did you feel this way before today? Yes.
Once Max started talking to her about it.
I did not allude to him being a Harvey Weinstein. But if the shoe f***ing fits, I didn't even say those f***ing words, but if you're thinking about it...
All right, what's up? Real quick, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I just want to I want to parse through a couple of these thoughts you're having right now.
Yeah, go for it.
2 in particular, and then maybe there's one thing that I want to say about Anna in particular. The first is you had a knee-jerk reaction there where you said, I don't really want to bring small streamers on. I don't know if they can take it.
Well, it's not a knee-jerk reaction. It's kind of like thinking, like, maybe it is the case that when small streamers come on, like the tidal wave of like pros and cons is too much for any small streamer. So I should just not do that at all, which sucks, but like that's just like a thought. I don't know if I would like commit to that, but that's a thought.
I think there's an awful lot of small streamers you've had on over the years who have benefited greatly and really don't lose out on much at all. I think if you're kind of pointing to 2 people, Lav and Mr. Girl, who are very different people, as a prime example of a small streamer that can't handle it, I think it's less about the size of their stream and it's more about the type of person they are.
Yeah, I guess it's really hard for me to parse through like who can do what. So like for instance, Max has been pretty not international, but he's had like a lot of national media attention for a lot of really weird stuff. He has a very provocative attitude when he does his content. Yeah. And those 2 facts combined with the fact that he hasn't changed his style and I continued forward that, I was like, okay, well, this is probably a person that can handle the ups and downs. That would be my assumption. And then same thing with Lav. She's younger and maybe a bit more emotional, I don't know, but she did like online sex work and she has a huge TikTok. So I figured like, okay, 700,000 follower TikTok. She brags about it all the time. She did music and she did like OnlyFans. This is also probably a person that can deal with like the ups and downs of online communities. That would have been my guess. Like if you were to give me a handful of people, I'd probably pick those 2 as like my B tier or A tier people in terms of people like this.
So your metrics are on their exposure to public engagement.
Yeah, like are you like battle tested basically? Have you gone through it? Yeah.
I don't know that that's a good metric.
What is then?
Well, it's not that. I think there's a lot of people who have a lot of exposure to the public who handle it extremely poorly. Just in the normal celebrity sphere, you know, there's a bunch of celebrities who are perpetually train wrecks. I don't even want to start naming them, but I'm sure names start to come to mind. And in the Twitch sphere as well, I'm sure you can name a couple people who have a similar characteristic. But you have to admit, I like Mr. Girl's content sometimes. I think it's pretty fun. He's interesting. But he is a very sensitive person.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't think sensitive precludes you from being able to handle online hate, right? Like you can be sensitive, but have ways of
he's a
dealing
very
with things,
sensitive person. And he's also someone who has a history of extreme vendetta.
For the Dr. K stuff, yeah. It seems like it. Although I could buy that though, given his background and everything, right?
I just don't think it's like, think about it. This is how I'm thinking about it. If someone is willing to, if someone feels so convicted that they're going to devote hours and hours of their time to bringing someone down, and they're sensitive, I feel like if you rub them the wrong way, they might just feel that way about you.
Yeah, it's just a matter of what does the wrong way mean. So if I take him at face value, and I assume that like, okay, well, his issue with Dr. K was that he said he was a therapist, he was being highly immoral, and then that's kind of his issue, and like Reckful committed suicide and everything.
But you wouldn't take him at face value.
Well, no, but in terms of digging through, like, so here's something that would have dramatically changed my engagement with that, right? Like, if I would have found out that Dr. K had personally slighted Max, then I would have been like, ooh, maybe something else is going on here. But I don't think that ever was the case, right? That they like had a personal interaction or whatever.
No, he just felt very strongly convinced that this person was doing wrong. And I would call it sensitive, but it almost feels like an obsession.
Yeah, I mean it does. He comes across as obsessive for sure.
Right.
And I don't see myself ever crossing him in a way that.
But you did. Right? Or did you?
Wait. Oh, sorry, Jesus. Okay. Oh, sorry, I just had a thing. Okay, sorry. Say that last thing again. Repeat that.
But you did cross him in a way where he felt convicted.
Yeah. Dude, hold on. I'm sorry. I don't want to. This is kind of funny, right? Am I?
Let me see. That's pretty funny.
Dude, okay. So since I hit 30, okay, I'm trying to.
That's pretty funny.
Here's something that I've done a lot, okay? In my mid to late 20s, especially as I became more emotionally mature and I stopped being as much of like a manipulator to people and weird and evil and all that shit. One of the big changes that I went in my thought process was that I need to stop looking at other people as worse than me, and I need to look at them as different. Some people might be emotional, some people might be less rational, some people might be whatever, but it doesn't mean they're worse. It's just everybody has like a different frame of reference or how they view the world. So as part of that, as part of that process, something that I've tried really, really, really hard to do is I've tried really hard not to mind read people. Even though I generally have a really good feel for things, I'll try really hard to be like, you're gonna do this, I know that. But I'm generally like, I'll be like, okay, hold on, I'll give you a shot. Whoever you are, right? Ari, Nina, Max, any of these like people that have got like crazy, but you know what, listen, I'll give you your fair shot because a lot of people say a lot of crazy shit about me and I don't think I'm crazy and I want you to give me a shot, so I'll give you a shot. I'll extend to you the same courtesy as anyone else. It's exhausting to me that, because like here, so the way that when I look at Max, in my opinion, now I'm a subjective human, so you know, what am I to say this? But like, if I zoom out, I feel like Max has every reason in the world to love me and very few reasons to hate me. Maybe a couple reasons to be a little bit irked over the subreddit stuff, but objectively speaking, no shot. But like, should I just be moving into that subjective frame of reference where it's like, okay, hold on, I know what Max is like. He's a little bit of a crybaby. I need to like basically be a dad to him through all of these like interactions, and then like assume like, okay, well that subreddit shit is actually probably driving you fucking crazy. So let me do everything I can to kind of like, you know, burp you, feed you, put you, take a nap. Like, sorry, I mumbled a lot, but like, yeah, I don't know how much responsibility am I reasonably supposed to take over like another fucking adult? These people are adults.
I don't think you're supposed to be taking responsibility, but like, you just came on stream and you said a bunch of things about Max.
Sure.
that he was a very good manipulator.
Yeah.
That, and that he's very what's a good word? He's very good at convincing other people of things.
Mm-hmm.
And now that he's hurt you, you're not really giving him the benefit of the doubt anymore.
Well, it's not so much that. Well, I guess if you want to put it that way, that's fine. Sure.
Yeah.
If somebody's gonna start to try to f me over, then yeah, I'm not gonna. That's like the charitability is gonna start to dramatically decrease. Although like it's not like I don't know if I'll pull the plug on a site or whatever, but.
Yeah. So I think like what I'm trying to get at here is your sort of framework here for like I'm going to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, and I'm not gonna read into these things. I'm sure you were feeling these things like Max is a manipulator, and you're giving him charity anyway, right?
Yeah, especially over all the videos with him and Shaylin and shit.
Yeah. And so you don't want to read into it, and then once he hurts you, now you're like, oh, I got to stop talking to small streamers. That's the only solution. I just feel like that's maybe you could be a little bit more guarded.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe instead of giving people all the benefit of the doubt, maybe you could just, be a little bit more guarded and trust someone just a little bit less and read into how someone is. If someone seems like a manipulator, maybe just be a little more cautious about bringing them on stream. Because the answer certainly isn't, well, now all small streamers should stop coming on stream because of these guys.
Yeah, maybe. What about like somebody like Lav, for instance?
I don't really watch Lav a lot.
Okay.
But
because like in this instance, I feel like if Max wasn't here, I think Lav would still have some complaints about like the subreddit, of course, which is reasonable, especially because they do post a lot about her. But I think that her mind has been like ultra fucking hijacked by Max.
Yeah, from what I've seen, Lav is, I mean, you know her better than I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you can, everyone has things that they're dealing with emotionally, and even though she's got a lot, it seems like she's just got a lot going on.
Yeah, maybe, but that's fine, right? Those are interesting people, right?
I agree that they're interesting people, but they're, so like, with the Anna thing, because I want to get to the Anna thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good parallel. This is a good time to draw it in. Anna's a really interesting person to you, and you actually like talking to Anna.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. And we've been chill for like the past year. Yeah,
absolutely. And we talked a lot about Anna in the past.
Yeah.
I'm
three years ago.
Yeah, I'm pretty intimately familiar with the situation, and I actually found it really empathetic. And one of the most empathetic things I've ever seen when you kind of figured out what she was dealing with in her head, and then you explained it to your stream, and then you moved on and you stayed friends from that. I think that's kind of the opposite of hurting women, and it's also but Anna's also hard to understand for a lot of people.
Sure.
And,
which is fair. I think a lot of people are hard. I think most people are hard to understand for most people, but yeah, especially people that are further off the norm.
Okay, Anna is
more off the norm than most people.
Yeah, not that Anna's any worse or any, I think Anna's a fine person, but it's hard for people to understand someone like Anna, and it's hard for people to understand why you would have the relationship that you do with Anna. And I think that the same is kind of true for Lav. And I think that that Anna and Lav are not, like, compare Anna and Lav to someone like, I guess this is just the easiest example because people on stream like Lily Pichu, but compare them to Lily Pichu. Lily Pichu is a much more, kind of...
What?
Less contentious person.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's probably true, yeah.
Yeah, and so with two very contentious people, it's going to be a lot harder for people in your audience to understand.
Which is fine, but I'm okay. Well, I personally am okay with that because, like I said, I've never ruled my personal friendships are never dictated by my stream. I don't care if people get triggered or whatever. That's always been a thing. But I guess if they're ever going to be involved with stream, then they get there's a chance for them to get irritated by it. But
yeah, and so I think when it comes down to, like, okay, it's not small streamers. You have to be careful with people who are contentious, very contentious.
I feel like it's not even contentious though, because I was contentious and, like, I did have to take a step back for my mental health, but it didn't become what has happened now. And I don't know, personally, I think a better litmus test is just seeing if people feel like they have to be superior to others. Like, and the reason why I say this is because, not to get too armchair psychological or whatever, but both Lav and Mr. Girl have admitted that they have problems when it comes to this, right? So Mr. Girl, or maybe Mr. Girl hasn't admitted it, but he's always talking about, like, how other people are stupid and they don't understand him and, like, they're just not smart enough, right? So he puts himself in this higher class. And, like, Lav has talked before about how she feels like she has to pull women down or whatever, or, like, be better than, like, the other woman or whatever. And I think
They just tackled and handcuffed a sitting U.S. senator for trying to question Kristi Noem during her Homeland Security press conference, all while we're seeing growing concerns about troops on U.S. soil, ICE raids, civilian arrests, and the line between military support and law enforcement blurring fast. Iran's now doubling down as Trump says that Israel might attack them. A Boeing Dreamliner crashed today, killing over 200 people in one of the deadliest aviation disasters in recent history. And Sabrina Carpenter's degradation and nude scandal has the internet divided. We're jumping into all that and much more on today's brand new Philip DeFranco show. You daily dive into the news, starting with this. Senator Alex Padilla of California was just forcibly removed, tackled, and handcuffed while trying to ask a question at a press conference that DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was holding in LA.
Sir, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your hands up.
On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go and put them behind my back.
All right. Cool. Other hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
Within the senator himself giving his own press briefing not long after, where he recounted his side of the story. Padilla saying that he had been in the federal building in LA for a separate briefing when he learned that Noem was giving a presser down the hall, and then claiming that for weeks now, he and many of his colleagues have been asking the DHS for more information and answers on their immigration enforcement actions, but they have received little to no information. With him then going on to say that he went to Noem's press conference to see if he could get any more intel.
I was there peacefully. At one point, I had a question, and so I began to ask a question. I was almost immediately forcibly removed from the room. I was forced to the ground, and I was handcuffed. I was not arrested. I was not detained. I will say this. If this is how this administration responds to a senator with a question, if this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers out in the Los Angeles community and throughout California and throughout the country. We will hold this administration accountable.
And to that point, we've seen a ton of people condemning this whole situation, including top Democratic leaders and Newsom himself, who posted, if they can handcuff a U.S. senator for asking a question, imagine what they will do to you. Though then, at the same time, you had Noem and her agency trying to paint a very different picture. With DHS saying in a statement on X, Senator Padilla chose disrespectful political theater and interrupted a live press conference without identifying himself or having a Senate security pin on as he lunged towards Secretary Noem. I mean, Mr. Padilla was told repeatedly to back away and did not comply with officers' repeated commands, saying Secret Service thought he was an attacker and officers acted appropriately. So there you had people immediately pushing back, saying, we didn't see what happened before the video started, but it literally shows him clearly identifying himself as Senator Alex Padilla. But still, you had Noem herself echoing those claims during an interview with Fox News, or with the host showing her clips of Democrats condemning the situation and asking her how she responded.
Well, he was never arrested. He was never arrested, and nobody knew who he was when he came into the room creating a scene. He was removed from the room, and yes, they started to put handcuffs on him when he finally identified himself, and then that was stopped. They said he wants to talk to you. I said, sure, I'd love to sit down and visit. So we went to a room and visited for 10 or 15 minutes and then exchanged phone numbers. So I just, I'm so sick of the politics, Martha.
But again, we literally have video evidence of Padilla identifying himself and then being taken out into the hall and handcuffed after doing so. Right? And so you have many saying it's pretty fucking wild for her to go on national television and try and gaslight America about something you can see in a video. And for now, we'll wait to see if anything comes from this. Because what we have seen some Republicans speaking out, it's been Republicans like Senator Susan Collins saying it's hard to imagine a justification for this. And Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski saying this is not the America I know. And then also beyond that, you have people using this as a moment to call for people to take to the streets and protest this Saturday. Echoing again what Newsom said, if they're going to do this to a U.S. Senator, imagine what they'll do to you. But as we wait to see how this situation develops, I'll pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts here? But then next up from that, we shift to the question of, is the military really going to arrest American citizens? Because that's what's being asked after Major General Scott Sherman, who's in charge of the troops being deployed to LA, said that the troops would be accompanying ICE on their raids to protect them. Now with that, Sherman is trying to make the distinction that his troops will just detain someone, saying we're there to protect their federal officers, their federal personnel. We're there to protect them so that they can do their job. With him then going on to add that if any of the personnel on a mission were assaulted, soldiers or Marines are allowed to take that person, detain them in place, wait for the federal law enforcement officer to come and arrest that individual. And that could take the form of holding someone down who assaulted an ICE officer and adding, we consider it once the guard member has his or her arm or holding that person, that's when they're detaining that person. Right? And the idea that troops would be used for civil law enforcement, it's raised a lot of concerns, but then you have supporters claiming that it's really not that big of a deal. With their argument being that the troops aren't actually arresting people, they're just holding them long enough for the actual police to do it. But there are very real concerns that this is a distinction without a difference. You're seeing lawyers writing things like, if you were not free to go, that's an arrest. And crazy folks are arguing the Marines in LA are merely doing reasonable suspicion detentions when they are in fact arresting people for all intents and purposes, and whatever you call it, it is unlawful civilian law enforcement by military personnel without a declared insurrection. Which is also probably why we've seen this video from the National Lawyers Guild making the rounds again.
Oh, hello.
We were just talking about you kids.
I'm Denise Heberly.
And I'm Bill Goodman.
Together, we've been fighting fascism for over 50 years.
And so much has changed over those 50 years, such as the ingredients to a successful firebomb.
And the glass that bank windows are made of.
But there's one thing that hasn't changed over 50 years, something that is so important to tell you kids who are new to this movement.
Shut the f up. You're sitting in the police transport van after a protest?
Shut the f up.
And the reality is, this is one of those questions that we won't know the answer to until the courts eventually decide. Because, this is gonna end up in court, and while this would, be unthinkable just a few years ago, you have people noting that the Supreme Court often tends to bend a lot of the rules for Trump. And really, the only thing delaying this is a lull in the protests, as well as the fact that the troops in LA are actually in training right now for how to deal with protests and learning what they're allowed to do, and won't be ready for a day or so. Though notably, they will likely be ready just in time for the No Kings protests that are planned for the weekend. And all of that is we've seen increasing ICE raids happening all across the US. Because despite the mass protests that we've seen, the agency hasn't stopped, with the latest big raids happening at farmland in Oxnard, California, as well as a meatpacking plant in Omaha, Nebraska. And while both were large raids, the one in Omaha was particularly big and focused on 97 people that ICE wanted to screen. All of which then left the company completely confused and concerned. And with that, you had ICE confirming that the raid took place and claimed that it was, quote, based on an ongoing criminal investigation into the large-scale employment of aliens without authorization to work in the United States. However, with that, you had Chad Hartman telling outlets, my biggest issue is, why us? We do everything by the book. And what he meant by that is that the company uses the E-Verify system to hire workers, which is a federal database used to check the immigration status of people. However, that apparently didn't matter because, according to Hartman, the ICE agents told him that the system is broken, to which he then said, I mean, what am I supposed to do with that? This is your system run by the government, and you're raiding me because your system is broken? With Hartman then contacting his representative, who got him some answers, with him saying that apparently ICE wasn't targeting Hartman's company, but instead workers using allegedly stolen identities, with Representative Don Bacon saying ICE verified that Glen Valley Foods complied with E-Verify 100% and is a victim in this as well. However, regardless of the how or why, it appears that the raids on America's food supply, it actually has worried some of Trump's base, and or Donald Trump himself, because he actually responded to concerns in a post writing, our great farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business have been stating that our very aggressive policy on immigration is taking very good long-term workers away from them, with those jobs being almost impossible to replace. With him then claiming in many cases the criminals allowed into our country by the very stupid Biden open borders policy are applying for those jobs. This is not good. We must protect our farmers, but get the criminals out of the USA. Changes are coming. And Trump actually added to this today when he responded to a reporter saying,
well, we're not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be. They have, maybe not.
With Trump then going on to say when 20-year-long workers are picked up, farmers are then forced to hire criminals. All of which has led many to believe that Trump might be reversing his ICE policy at least somewhat, with claims that powerful allies likely contacted him angry about the raids hurting their businesses. You even had Governor Gavin Newsom making a statement saying,
so just moments ago, Donald Trump made a major reversal in his mass deportation policy. Indiscriminately, he's been sending armed agents into farms and fields and ranches all throughout California and increasingly across the country. I was in Oxnard, California yesterday. I met with a 12-year-old boy, tears pouring down his face. His mom and dad snatched by agents. They were working the fields for over 20 years. He doesn't know where they are. He has no family in the United States. He's here alone, a sixth grader. Donald Trump may not care about him, but he's finally listening to you, calling out these indiscriminate acts of cruelty. Let's keep up the pressure and let's do it peacefully.
And that, of course, on top of other policies by the Trump administration which have hurt them. Right? The retaliatory tariffs that the country's imposed hurt farmers, and Trump's immigration policies are hurting travel. Especially when you're seeing videos like this where a Chilean tourist was arrested by ICE in New York City for no real reason and her kid left in the street. With that, while anecdotal, and I'd love to know if you have similar or completely different situations that you've seen, almost everyone that I know living abroad, they've canceled any travel plans to the US because of shit like this. But really, unfortunately, across the board, it is likely that things are gonna remain tense for a while. Especially because, without a doubt, we're gonna be talking about this weekend's protests on Monday. I just hope it's something like massive, peaceful protests across the country and not protesters killed and injured in clashes with US troops. And so with that, I'll say, if you're gonna go out there to protest, please be peaceful. Do not take the bait from police or any authorities. And if you are detained, shut the fuck up. But then from that, shifting to more social and entertainment news, Sabrina Carpenter has been a bad, bad girl, and she is single-handedly setting feminism back decades. That is what you're seeing tons of people claiming right now after she released the cover art for her new album, Man's Best Friend. The title clearly being a nod to dogs being a man's best friend, and so the cover shows her in stilettos in a little black dress, crawling on the ground while a person, presumably a man, tugs at her hair like it's a leash. And then the dog comparison is emphasized with additional artwork that just shows the album's title on a puppy's collar. So you had many finding this to be incredibly degrading, and they wrote things like, "This is not feminism and this is not empowering. Look at her comparing herself to a dog kneeling in front of a man. This is derogatory as fuck." As well as, can't she do anything else other than showing women as an object to men? And women face horrific domestic abuse and degradation at the hands of men every single day, but she wants to profit off of imagery of herself being degraded, comparing herself to a dog. Then tons of people also echoing that in Sabrina's Instagram comments, saying that it looks like a humiliation ritual and that no one wants to see a man dragging a woman on the ground, especially in this political climate. So this is, we then also had a ton of people defending Sabrina, arguing that if you put it in the context of her work, it's clearly satire. Right there, you have people noting the lead single of the album is called Man Child, saying it's not a bow down to men anthem, and in it she calls men slow, stupid, and useless. And so you've got people arguing that she's actually just trying to show how men treat women like pets and play with the fact that sexually promiscuous women have been referred to as bitches, aka dogs, historically. And some arguing that the commentary should be especially obvious given the album's name is Man's Best Friend. But then you have others arguing there is a difference between intent and effect, and the effect here is that she just objectified herself. Right, with some writing things like intentionally reproducing a misogynistic aesthetic, even under the guise of satire, doesn't subvert it, it reinforces it. Right, and arguing that it's just lazy commentary, saying it says men treat women like objects while making sure to look as sex potty and bangable as possible. Though then connected, but separate from that, you have people saying that the outrage seems to be a symptom of culture becoming too anti-sex and purity focused. Some there even saying, "I fear we have stopped doing things for the male, gazed ourselves back into expecting women to be modest and shaming them otherwise." And then notably, the usual 12-hour discourse window, it got an extension this morning because her cover for Rolling Stone was released. In that, it features her fully nude, minus thigh-high socks and hair covering her body. You know, with all this, while Sabrina Carpenter hasn't addressed the specific backlash yet, you know, the discourse around her and her sexuality, it's not really anything new. But she often sings about sex, she also leans into it during certain parts of her tour, and there was a whole controversy on if she should be doing dance moves alluding to sex on stage, given that some of her fans are young. And actually, in today's Rolling Stone piece, she talked about all the criticism and what's been referred to as nitpicking that she deals with. But they're saying, "I don't want to be pessimistic, but I truly feel like I've never lived in a time where women have been picked apart more and scrutinized in every capacity." I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about every female artist that is making art right now. We're in such a weird time where you would think it's girl power and women supporting women, but in reality, the second you see a picture of someone wearing a dress on a carpet, you have to say everything mean about it in the first 30 seconds that you see it. And then, regarding people being so quick to call her out on putting sexual elements in her shows, she said, "It's always so funny to me when people complain. They're like, all she does is sing about this. But those are the songs that you've made popular. You clearly love sex. You're obsessed with it. It's in my show. There's so many more moments. If you come to the show, you'll also hear the ballads. You'll hear the more introspective numbers." But hey, you know, with all that said, I'd really love to know where you stand on this. Like, what are your thoughts and opinions here? Let me know in those comments. Because, you know, whether you're watching this show from a church pew or you're in the tub right now with your Sydney Sweeney bathwater soap, I'm interested to know your take here, because this is a topic that's kind of come up in different versions over the past 20 years of this show, and the takes, they seem to evolve and change over the years. And then you've got more news in just a minute, but first, you know, I spent this past weekend getting way too into my Switch 2, which, don't judge. I said I was gonna disassociate, and I was playing for hours. And now I can honestly say with Dbrand, today's sponsor, Dbrand's Kill Switch case, it legit changed the handheld experience. The grips were a lifesaver. I mean, usually after an hour, my wrists kind of hate me. But with the Kill Switch, there's no cramps, no drops, all thanks to their textured handles. You know, most cases, they're bulky or a pain when you want to swap Joy-Cons. But not with the Kill Switch, right? They pop on, they pop off, no hassle. It fits so well, it feels like Nintendo made it. Like, seriously, it is comfortable and it actually feels super secure. It's also gonna be great to travel with. I mean, the included cover is a beast. And so I know it'll protect my investment, plus it's crush-proof and it holds 10 game cards, so that's convenient. And I'm actually in the process of getting a second one because my son actually cares about physical media. He loves the cartridges, and so he's like, I need that case. Also, gotta talk about the screen protector. I mean, it's just stupid easy to install, and they even give you a backup in case you mess up. Also, docking's a breeze. There's no need to take the case off, and you still get full 4K 60 pass-through, so I was all set for couch game. And yeah, you can also customize it with Dbrand skins. I mean, there's tons of styles, super easy to swap. You know, the bottom line is to protect your Switch 2, to keep it comfy, to actually make it look better. The Kill Switch is a no-brainer. So just scan that QR code or check the link below, dbrand.com/DeFranco, to save up to $35. This is just horrible. You hate to see this. More than 200 people were killed as a Boeing 787 Dreamliner with 242 people on board crashed in India. The Air India flight having reportedly been en route to London. And as of recording, that death count reportedly includes not only those on the plane, but people on the ground as well. And of course, because this is a developing situation, we should expect that number to change. But as far as what we know right now, the plane took off from the western Indian city of Ahmedabad today at 1:38 p.m. local time, with it then crashing just a few minutes later into a dining facility at a medical college 3.5 miles away, with it killing at least 5 students there at the college. So again, it's feared that the death toll on campus and the surrounding area could be higher. The dean of the college is saying most of the students escaped, but 10 or 12 were trapped in the fire. Also, at least 41 people were injured and received treatment, though notably that number could include both passengers and people on the ground. As far as passengers, so far there's at least one survivor from the plane being reported, with that being a British national who was sitting in seat 11A. Also, beyond that, it's not immediately clear what caused the crash. And there, we're hearing that it could take months or years to determine exactly what happened, and you have the US and UK sending experts to help with the investigation. Also, regarding the specific plane in question, like I mentioned, it is a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner. And of course, Boeing, as well as that specific model of plane, now that's been in the hot seat for years now, because as far as the Dreamliner, it's never been involved in a fatal crash, but it has experienced operational problems in the past with passengers on board, which has resulted in injuries. And starting back in 2021, you had deliveries being paused for more than a year due to concerns that the company's plane inspection method didn't meet federal requirements. And then they actually got paused again in 2023 over an issue with the fuselage, which the company said didn't affect safety. So then, last year, the FAA saying that it's investigating claims by a Boeing engineer that parts of the fuselage were improperly fastened together, which the whistleblower said could cause premature damage to the plane over years of use. So you had Boeing saying they found no evidence to support the whistleblower's concerns after conducting exhaustive tests. But this notably is other whistleblowers have also raised concerns about the factory where the Dreamliner is assembled, including John Barnett. With John being a former quality manager with almost 3 decades of experience at Boeing, who went public with his concerns in 2019, and then he ended up killing himself last year after a years-long battle with the company. And all of that, I mean, that's just with the Dreamliner. As far as Boeing as a whole, I mean, the timing of this is kind of wild. Just last month, the company reached a deal with the Justice Department to avoid criminal responsibility for a pair of deadly 737 MAX crashes in 2018 and 2019. A deal also that notably a lawyer for the victims' families called morally repugnant. And then adding to all that, Air India, they're not a stranger to controversy. With us seeing things like, for example, in 2020, an Air India Express flight, which happened to be on a Boeing 737, overshooting the runway, killing 21, with that eventually, though, getting blamed on pilot error. Which is also why, with all that, I cannot stress this enough, we really have no idea right now how or why this happened yet, and we really can't go jumping to any conclusions. But one, I mean, this is just heartbreaking, and our thoughts and well wishes to those affected, and two, understandably, there's a lot of people concerned, and hopefully we learn something from these investigations. But then jumping from that, we gotta talk about Israel now reportedly getting ready to attack Iran, and the US is evacuating personnel from the region in response to the rising tensions. And all of this as the UN nuclear watchdog has officially said for the first time in 20 years that Iran isn't meeting its obligations. And Iran's vowing to even further ramp up its uranium enrichment capabilities in response. Now with all that, it is not clear what kind of attack Israel might be preparing, but notably, the commander of the Revolutionary Guard has warned that his country's retaliation to any Israeli attack would be, quote, more forceful and destructive than in the past, with Iranian officials also warning that any military action against Iran would produce severe consequences, potentially including strikes on American military bases, or which may be why the administration has reportedly ordered all embassies within striking distance of Iran to come up with assessments about danger and about measures to mitigate risks to Americans and U.S. infrastructure, with also the State Department ordering the departure of all non-essential personnel from the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad and authorizing the departure of non-essential personnel in countries from Bahrain, Kuwait. And then you also have Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth giving the go-ahead for military dependence across the entire region to just get the hell out. With us seeing one expert arguing that the U.S. drawdown in the region, it sends a message that Trump won't necessarily hold Israel back, which is very notable because just a few months ago you had Trump reportedly waving off another Israeli plan to attack Iran and insisting that he wanted a chance to negotiate a deal. And one, those talks actually picked back up a few weeks ago, and two, just 2 weeks ago, Trump said that he again warned Netanyahu about launching a strike while discussions were underway. But more recently, Iran rejected a U.S. proposal that would have provided it with a fuel for reactors while preventing it from building a nuclear weapon or enriching uranium. With Trump, after having expressed optimism about the situation, now saying that he was growing less confident about getting a deal. Though with that, you still have diplomats in Oman, where the talks are being held, saying that a 6th session will go ahead this weekend between U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the Iranian foreign minister. But of course, we're gonna have to see whether this Israeli attack actually happens, what it looks like, and how Iran responds. And in the meantime, this move by the UN nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency, it's only added to the tensions. Right? I mean, you had the agency's board of governors voting on a resolution formally saying that Iran is not complying with its nuclear non-proliferation obligation. The US, UK, France, and Germany putting forward the resolution, 19 voting in favor, 13 either abstaining or not voting, and Russia, China, and Burkina Faso voting against. And like I said, this is the first time Iran has been found in breach of its obligations in 2 decades. The IAEA specifically taking issue with Iran's refusal since 2019 to explain activity at 3 nuclear sites, as well as its buildup of a stockpile of uranium enriched to 60%, which is close to weapons grade. Right, and with that, you have Iran claiming that its nuclear program is for civilian use and that it doesn't want to actually develop weapons. But you also have others arguing that there is no conceivable civil nuclear need for Iran to enrich uranium at levels of 60%. Because to give you some key context here, the normal level of enrichment for a nuclear power reactor is somewhere from 3 to 5%. And so you have the president of the Institute for Science and International Security saying, if you are at 60% enriched, you are 99% of the way to weapon-grade uranium, which is the ideal material for nuclear weapons. So this program does not look like a civil program, with him then adding there that Iran could get to weapons-grade uranium within a week, while a crude nuclear explosive device could be attached within months. And in fact, to that point, you have the IAEA saying that Iran already has enough highly enriched uranium at near weapons grade to build 10 bombs in less than a year. And so with all that, Iran's failure to comply with the nuclear watchdog's requirements could be grounds for reinstalling all the multinational and sanctions that were lifted as part of the 2015 nuclear deal, which was between Iran, the EU, several other countries, and of course the US under Barack Obama. But you also may remember that Trump unilaterally withdrew the US from that deal in 2018, with Iran announcing a couple years later that it would no longer comply with limits on uranium enrichment set by the deal. And now you're seeing in response to the IAEA vote that the Iranian Foreign Ministry and National Atomic Energy Agency have come out with a joint statement condemning the move, with them claiming that the resolution had completely called into question the agency's credibility and prestige, and then also announcing that the country would launch a new enrichment center in a secure location and replace the first generation machines at another site with more modern equipment. And so right now, who knows what's gonna happen, right? Is there any hope of this deal being salvaged? Is the situation gonna continue to escalate? Is there going to be an Israeli strike? Time will tell and we'll see. Then, shifting gears from that as we begin to wind down today's show, I wanna give you a very different kind of news. It's a story about love, legacy, and a surprise. Right? It starts in Michigan, and specifically the Sterling Heights Public Library, because that is where on her very first day volunteering, 87-year-old Helen found a wedding photo tucked in the pages of a donated book. With a photo featuring a bride and a groom along with another couple, and on the back the names Frank and Josephine Ruggiero. With Helen thinking, what a shame it was that there was this nice picture from somebody's big day and they didn't know anything about it. And so she turns the photo over to the library's administration office, who then actually immediately goes to work on tracking down the Ruggiero family, with Annalise White, the library's public relations and programs coordinator, making a post on Facebook featuring the photo and saying the library was on a mission to reunite the picture with its rightful family, calling on the community to identify this couple. And you had Annalise later saying, wedding photographs are so meaningful and we just thought it was worth the try to reunite it with its rightful owner. And then within just a few hours of that post going up, you had Sarah Ruggiero being tagged by a childhood friend who recognized the last name. Sarah saying she immediately recognized that it was her grandparents, and she was completely stunned, because turns out Frank and Josephine were first-generation Sicilian Americans who were married in Detroit on September 26, 1953. And over the course of their 67-year marriage, they had 5 children, 9 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. Sarah actually being one of the 9 grandchildren, and she said they were so proud of their Sicilian heritage and family traditions. They were such a huge presence in my life, and they valued family and togetherness above all. But then going on to talk about weekly Sunday dinners with their grandparents, the cookies that Josephine would make, Frank's love of sports, and the close relationships they fostered with everyone in their big family until the days they died, with Frank passing away in 2020 and Josephine just 3 years later. But then with that, you had Sarah saying that this whole situation, it felt like her grandparents were checking in and saying hello, with her adding, we miss them so much, and it was just so cool and out of the blue to have this reminder of them. And making it a little extra beautiful, you had Sarah saying that the family hadn't actually seen this particular photo from Frank and Josephine's wedding before. And then as far as, the mystery of why this photo is in this book, there we learned that the answer was actually in the photo itself. Or that other couple, they were Sarah's great aunt and uncle, both of which died before she was born, but that couple's granddaughter saw the Facebook post as well, reached out to Sarah and said, it makes sense because the book was donated to the library by her father, who has a tendency to use pictures as bookmarks. And so in that way, it also brought this family together, because you had Sarah saying, my dad has such a big family, and I've met a lot over the years, but there's a ton of distant cousins and relatives, and we've all been connecting through this reminder of my grandparents. So one, just a beautiful story of happenstance, and two, it kind of serves as a little reminder that family is the thing that matters the most. And I mean that both with the family that loves you and is there for you as you should, and the family that you choose. It's easy to get disconnected, but hey, if I can give you a little homework, as we hop into this last segment, do a little multitasking for me. Send a text to 1 to 4 people in your life you care about, you love, and just say, hey, I was thinking about you, love you, hope you're doing good. It'll mean more than you realize, and without each other, we're kind of nothing. But then, finally today, let's end with the congratulations and talk about y'all's comments from yesterday. Starting with the congratulations to Asha J, SeatGeek's latest weekly winner, who just scored $500, and she's excited to go see Baby Metal with Black Girl Bride. And for the rest of y'all, that's right, SeatGeek is still giving away $500 in tickets, and you should definitely enter today if you haven't already. I mean, you could be the next winner and snag $500 towards seeing your favorite artist, sporting event, or play. I mean, there's like over 70,000 events to choose from. And all you gotta do is add code PDS to your SeatGeek app profile for a chance at the weekly $500 prize otherwise no purchase necessary. Plus, that code will even take $10 off your next purchase, so it's just a win-win-win. That said, let's dive into y'all's comments from yesterday's show on some commentary. Which, just to start, I didn't realize until yesterday that I can actually reply in the comments with voice messages, and so I'm gonna start doing that, so definitely leave comments with your thoughts, opinions, questions, whatever today. You know, in those comments there were a lot of people sounding off on the Trump-Elon Musk situation. With Remon writing, you just know that the dude wrote Trump is in the Epstein files while high as a kite, and when his high ran out, he remembered he's in the files as well, so he deleted the tweet and apologized. Others also saying, how the hell could anyone say women are too emotional to be president after following the Trump and Musk feud? Which I will say, could you imagine if the president or the person that was in Elon Musk's position was a woman? The fucking national discourse you'd see play out, the narratives. But that also extends to so many things. I mean, I don't know. Watching the first few months of this Trump presidency, the number of times that Trump has said, I don't know about a situation that pretty much everyone is aware of and definitely the president should be aware of and have an opinion and take on is fucking wild. And just how that ends up getting glossed over, not even by just right-wing media, but just like media in general. And that doesn't even touch on things like Trump saying that he talked to Newsom the day before, but it was actually 3 days before. And then certain media and certain figures just cut out that part about the several days and they try to make it like Trump just said, I talked to the guy. And they were like, look, and the receipts showed that. Both as a consumer and someone that makes content in this space, it's wild to see. Also on the Trump-Elon Musk topic, a lot of people were angry at me because they went, why'd you make me agree with Candace Owens on something? With Cater Free adding to that comment, I want off this insane timeline. And the Puzzled Boy saying, heartbreaking, one of the worst people you've heard of, just made a good point. You then also had a number of people saying that Elon's essentially, he didn't even really fully apologize. Candace Owens was right on that. He kind of just said, I regret what I did. But you had people saying that he only ended up doing that because he realized he had nowhere else to go. With, for example, Courier 6 Gaming writing, Elon, guess I'll change sides again. The left immediately ejects him back out through the window. Elon, guess it's time to suck up again. Though overall, I think the most liked comment on yesterday's show was, I feel like 2025 is going to become a case study in cognitive dissonance and show how desperate people are to protect their ego and not admit they were wrong, even if it destroys their lives. Which, hey, could be, might be, we'll see. Though I will say, who knows what the national conversation and what narratives will be at play next week, especially, I mean, a lot of it's gonna depend on how Saturday goes. Like the military / Donald Trump's birthday parade, the protests, nationwide stuff. I mean, it's that day, depending on what does or doesn't happen, I'm just hoping people stay safe. That is gonna set the tone. But that is where your show ends today. Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and reactions in those comments, especially because I wanna try out that new audio comment reply feature. Let me just say thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you back here on Monday. Because of course, remember I got a brand new show for you every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Love you, mean it.
hatte da schon das Gefühl,
if you not ball hog, then die.
I can't date this hoe, this bitch chips. I just count my cash, then dip. We got on your ass, please don't try no shit. I keep scoring the goddamn ball, I'm on some hard and shit. And I can't let, bitch, keep that fire right by my hip. Fucking your hoe, my kid, she gon' babysit. They see I got my own swag, they try to copy it. I pop out the cut, sunlight it. This little hoe is annoying me, I gotta kick her out my crib. This bitch, she gotta go, she can't stay right here. Huh, nigga know I'm on go, my God right there, bitch. Nigga, you got grudge, you gotta fight your fears. Bitch, why is you crying on my phone? You gotta wipe your tears. You know we sipping on drink, bitch, I don't sit no beer. You know I'm sliding the tank, niggas want war, do that shit right here. Do that shit right here. I don't got no competition, I ain't got no odds. I got bad hoes that fit slide to my spot. I got nachos, bitches know that I got guap. I got honchos, yeah, I'm a walking eye. They like tech, how you run that guap up? They like tech, let me know when you pop up. Burn the plug out for his balls, we gon' stock up. Bitch niggas get nothing, they get nada. I love guala, I'm outside with my partner. We keep the tools like some gardeners. We outside, rockin' designer. To your bride, Sapala. I'm on the block, Serge Ibaka. We got guap, this ain't new to us. I can't date this hoe, this bitch chips. I just count my cash, then dip. We got on your ass, please don't try no shit. I keep scoring the goddamn ball, I'm on some hard and shit. And I can't let, bitch, keep that fire right by my hip. Fucking your hoe, my kid, she gon' babysit. They see I got my own swag, they try to copy it. I pop out the cut, sunlight it. Huh, this little hoe is annoying me, I gotta kick her out my crib. This bitch, she gotta go, she can't stay right here. Huh, nigga know I'm on go, my God right there, bitch. Nigga, you got grub, you gotta fight your fears. no rose. Hit the corner, spill like rose. Let that pussy splash like falls. When you throw it on that wall, I'm tryna see your soul. So your feet up in your toes. They blow it like a movie, make a high. I hate that good shit, yeah, I want it tonight. I'ma say shit for the high. I'ma say shit for the high. I like shit you don't like. Show you running away. He tryna run, got hit with a check fine. No Katie, fine with my style, I get fat. Lately, I've been on these drugs, I've been fat. Lately, listen, we gon' need it on my side. Rainy, yeah, I got shots like time. Rainy.
Я не могу дышать, мне не видно неба. Отпускаю и в небо улетает желтыми листьями наше прошлое лето. Переговорными глупыми письмами. 恋焦がれる禁断の味熱い魂にたぎるエナジー心揺さぶる喜びの味胸を取るような深い香りまだ見ぬ味わい追い求め込んだ未知なる世界も君とならいける命の循環恵みと施し全てを受け入れ僕らは生きてる命の循環恵みと施し全てを受け入れ僕らは生きてるI lived for 9 months inside of my mother. She was a junkie. Imagine yourself that everything come true what your dream said. A never-ending dream of love. My destination was to get out of here. And I'm a child without God. I became the next generation to feed the children with coke, LSD, ecstasy. Follow us to the cocaine home. can't believe I still receive so much affection from your side. If you could give me one more chance, I'd